If you love sensual billionaire romances where intimacy is rebuilt slowly, where touch is earned instead of taken, and where desire lives in restraint rather than urgency, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a new story. The first thing I notice about Alexander Whitmore is how still he is. Not calm, not relaxed. Still, like a man who has learned that movement comes with consequences. He stands by the window of his private rehabilitation suite when I'm brought in, tall and broad-shouldered, posture immaculate despite the brace running along his left arm. White, early 40s, dark blonde hair cut neatly, jawline sharp, expression controlled to the point of austerity. The therapist couldn't make it today. His assistant explains quietly. Traffic. Alexander doesn't turn. I didn't ask for a replacement, he says. His voice is low, measured. Used to being obeyed. I'm not replacing her. I reply before his assistant can. I'm here to assist. Only with what you approve. That gets his attention. He turns slowly, gray eyes locking onto mine with surgical precision. I don't flinch. I've learned that men like him test stillness the way others test strength. You're aware of my condition, he says. Yes. And the boundaries, he adds. Yes. Pause stretches between us. Finally, he nods once. You can stay. The assistant exhales in relief and leaves us alone. The suite is quiet, clinical but expensive. Neutral colors, minimal furniture. A space designed for recovery, not comfort. You can sit, Alexander says, gesturing vaguely toward a chair. I'll stand, I reply. If that's all right. His gaze flickers briefly, approval maybe. The injury was an accident. That much I know. A collision that left his left arm severely damaged. Nerves compromised, sensation unreliable. Surgery repaired what it could. Physical therapy restored strength. But touch? Touch is different. The doctors say you've regained function, I say carefully. But sensation is inconsistent. Inconsistent, he echoes. That's one word for it. Do you want to explain what it feels like? I ask. He hesitates. Then quietly. Unfamiliar. That's not pain. That's grief. I won't touch you without permission, I say. And I won't rush. His jaw tightens slightly. You'll find I don't tolerate hesitation. I don't hesitate, I reply evenly. Ipache. That earns me another long look. Fine, he says. We'll start small. He sits on the edge of the bed, resting his injured arm on a cushion. Tell me where, I say softly. He lifts his chin. My hand. I step closer, stopping just outside his reach. Tell me when, I add. His breath deepens. Now. I don't grab. I don't cradle. I don't soothe. I place 2 fingers lightly against the back of his hand, barely there. Question, not a claim. His breath catches. Pressure. I ask. Present. He replies after a moment. I adjust slightly. Still light. Still controlled. Temperature. I ask. Cool, he says. Then warm. I watch his face, the way concentration furrows his brow. The way his body remains rigid. Like he's bracing for something that hasn't happened yet. You can pull away, I remind him. I won't, he says quietly. That becomes our rhythm. Every session we move slowly. Fingers. Wrist. Forearm. Never more than he agrees to. Never without his full attention. And always stillness afterward. The thing no one warned me about is how intimate it feels. Not sexual. Not yet. But vulnerable. Touch without expectation. Proximity without ownership. He begins to relax into it. Just slightly. Just enough that his shoulders drop. His breathing evens. You don't talk much, he observes one afternoon. I don't distract, I reply. I've had plenty of people touch me since the accident, he says. Doctors. Nurses. Therapists. And none of them made me aware of myself, he says. The way you do. I still my hand. Is that uncomfortable? No, he says immediately. It's grounding. Weeks pass. The brace comes off. The stiffness eases. Sensation improves. But he keeps me. Not because he needs me. Because he chooses me. You could stop now, I tell him one evening. You've regained enough control. I didn't hire you for control, he replies. Then why? I ask. He doesn't answer right away. Finally, because you don't take more than I give. That night, when I help him button his cuff, slowly, carefully, his fingers brush mine. This time he doesn't pull away. Neither do I. The contact is brief. Electric. We both feel it. I should go, I say quietly. Yes, he agrees. But neither of us moves. I don't know how to cross this line, he says softly. You don't have to, I reply. Not unless you want to. His gaze lifts to mine, intense, searching. Do you? I swallow. Yes. That honesty shifts something between us. From that night on, the touch changes, not in location but in awareness. His hand lingers longer when I guide it. My fingers stay warmer, steadier. The space between us shrinks naturally, without discussion. One evening, his breath stutters when I brush along his forearm. Too much. I ask immediately. No, he says. Just new. I nod. Then we pause. He looks surprised. Why? Because stopping is how you learn safety, I reply. He exhales slowly. You're teaching me more than sensation. Yes. The realization settles heavily. You're teaching me trust, he says. And choice, I add. The first time he touches me intentionally is almost nothing. His fingers rest lightly against my wrist as I turn away. Not possessive. Not demanding. Asking. I still. Yes, I whisper. That's all it takes. From then on, touch becomes mutual. Never rushed. Never careless. He learns the shape of my hands the way he learned his own, carefully, attentively. As if every moment matters. One night, as rain taps softly against the windows, he speaks without looking at me. I was afraid I'd never feel again, he admits. You are, I reply gently. No, he corrects. I'm choosing to. That distinction matters. When his fingers finally lace with mine, it feels earned. When he pulls me close slowly, carefully, it feels deliberate. When his forehead rests against mine, his breath warm and steady, there is no rush. Just presence. I don't want to hurt you, he says quietly. You won't, I reply. Because you listen. And if I want more, he asks. Then you ask, I say. And I answer honestly. He kisses me then, not hungry, not consuming. Intentional. When we part, his hands rest at my waist, steady and sure. You taught me slowly, he murmurs. I still am, I reply. Because this isn't about healing an injury. It's about learning how to touch without fear. And for the first time since the accident, Alexander Whitmore looks at me like a man who isn't afraid of what he feels. Only of losing it. And I don't intend to go anywhere. The next morning the routine resumes, but nothing feels routine anymore. Alexander greets me with the same composed nod, the same controlled posture, yet something in his eyes lingers now when he looks at me. Awareness. Memory. Choice. You don't have to continue, he says as I set my bag down. What happened last night doesn't obligate you. I know, I reply. I'm still here. He studies that answer, then inclines his head. Then we proceed as before. Slowly. Yes, I agree. Always slowly. Today the focus is his shoulder. The muscles are strong now, recovered, but the nerves beneath remain uncertain, sometimes too sharp, sometimes distant. Tell me when to stop, I remind him. I will, he says. My hand rests against his upper arm, warm and steady. I move in small increments, gauging his breathing, the tension beneath his skin. That's clear, he murmurs. Clear. I echo. I can feel exactly where you are, he says. Nothing blurs. That's good, I say. It's dangerous, he corrects quietly. I pause. Why? Because clarity makes me want more, he admits. The honesty doesn't scare me. Wanting isn't the same as taking. I say gently. No, he agrees. But it makes restraint harder. I meet his gaze. Then we practice that too. Something in his expression softens. Respect maybe. Gratitude. As the days pass, the sessions deepen. Not in intensity but in meaning. Touch becomes conversation. Every brush of skin asks a question. Every stillness listens for the answer. He begins to initiate more. Here, he'll say, guiding my hand. Or wait, when sensation spikes too fast. Once, his fingers curl around my wrist, not to stop me but to anchor himself. I felt that, he says, almost surprised. I smile faintly. You're supposed to. One afternoon after a long session, he doesn't pull away immediately. He stays close, his hands still resting lightly against mine. You could leave, he says. I could, I agree. But you don't, he adds. No. Why? He asks, not demanding, just curious. I consider it. Because you don't treat my presence like something you're owed. His breath slows. Most people do. I know, I reply. That night he asks me to stay for dinner. Not professionally. Not as part of the arrangement. As a person. We sit across from each other at the table. The space between us no longer a barrier but a choice. Conversation flows easily about nothing urgent. Books, music, the places we've avoided returning to because they remind us of who we used to be. You're not afraid of me, he observes. I'm cautious, I say. That's different. Yes, he agrees. It is. After dinner, we stand near the window, city lights glowing faintly below. I used to think strength was about endurance, he says. About pushing through pain. And now? I ask. Now I think it's about knowing when to stop, he replies. And trusting someone else to see the difference. He turns to me fully then. I don't want to rush this, he says. Whatever this is becoming. Neither do I reply. But I also don't want to pretend it's nothing. I step closer, not touching but near enough that our breaths align. It isn't nothing, I say softly. It's deliberate. His hand lifts slowly, giving me time to refuse. I don't. He rests his palm against my back, warm, steady, present. This still feels new, he murmurs. It should, I reply. You're not numb anymore. The next time he kisses me, it's different from the first. Less tentative. Still restrained. But sure. When we part, his forehead rests against mine. His breathing even. I don't feel broken, he says quietly. You never were, I reply. You were just afraid to feel unfinished. That night, I leave later than usual. The air outside is cool, the city hushed. He walks me to the door. Tomorrow, he asks. Yes, I answer easily. And I realize something as I drive home. Something that settles deep and steady in my chest. This isn't about fixing him, or saving him, or teaching him something he lacked. It's about meeting him where he stopped trusting his own body, and staying long enough for him to believe again. When I return the next day, the brace is gone completely. So is the distance. He reaches for my hand without hesitation this time. Fingers firm, confident. I feel you, he says. I smile. Good. Because now when he touches me, there is no fear in it. Only intention. Only choice. And for the first time since the accident, Alexander Whitmore doesn't look like a man bracing for loss. He looks like a man ready to hold on. And I let him.